Man, I'm so embarrassed showing you guys the rest of these plants. Coming in at number 6, it is the Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. For those who's new, my name is Christian and I love plants, and in today's video we're gonna go through my 10 least favorite houseplants I own right now. I got about like 125 around the condo, so this was a difficult thing to do because the reality is I do like all my plants, but if I was to force rank them from my favorite to my least favorite, these 10 would be at the bottom, and I'll share with you guys reasons why I like them, why I don't like them. We'll start at number 10, which is kind of my least favorite, to my least favorite, which is all the way to number 1. So without further ado, we'll get started. Starting at number 10, it is the Maiden Hair Fern. So it is my only fern, and I genuinely do like this plant. I love the feathery, light, airy look it has on its foliage, and it is beautiful. I've seen a huge one before. Reasons why I don't like ferns is because they are very difficult to care for, very fussy, and you guys can see here it has a lot of dead leaves and dead foliage, and that's just from a lack of humidity. You know, when I first got this, it was doing fine, and then obviously, you know, because my home didn't have the humidity it required, it was starting to kind of dry out. But it is starting to show new growth, and the reason being is because I did start putting this in the greenhouse where it does have a lot more humidity. So I am trying to get this, you know, to thrive a little bit better. It definitely is not a beginner's houseplant, so this is probably more for a novice. But it's beautiful, right? But this is number 10 of my least favorite houseplants. Coming in at number 9, it is the Sansevieria trifasciata. So you guys know I like snake plants. I think they are one of the easiest plants to care for, and they come in so many varieties. Unfortunately, out of all my snake plants, this is probably the least of my favorite, and the reason being is because I'm not a big fan of this like yellow edge on its sides and then the green you know, color in the middle. It's called the golden edge for that reason, and yeah, it's not my favorite color scheme when it comes to the snake plants. Although the new leaves look a little bit better and a lot prettier, I do like it that way. But yeah, so that's probably the only reason why I have this as number 9 in terms of my least favorite houseplants. It definitely is my least favorite snake plants for sure. But coming in at number 8, it is the Calathea rufibarba. So you guys know I like calatheas, but it's a calathea, so they are very difficult, very fussy, very demanding to care for. And this particular calathea is my least favorite out of all my calatheas. Only reason being is because it actually looks pretty basic from afar with its purple tone underneath and then like green foliage at the top. However, it does have that unique characteristic of the leaves being fuzzy or furry feather, hence the name furry feather. But out of all the calatheas, I would say this is probably the easiest one to care for, but it's still quite, you know, needy and whatnot. But so far, it's been really good for me, but definitely my least favorite out of all my calatheas, and definitely made it to the 10 least favorite houseplants that I got going on right now. So coming in at number 7, it is the Dante Marcy. So you guys can see here, he's not the prettiest looking plant I own right now. It is part of the Maranthaceae family along with the prayer plant and the calathea, so it does have that characteristic of the leaves folding up at night and folding down during the day. And you know, unlike a calathea, I would say this is fairly easier to care for in terms of you know, watering and humidity, but obviously I'm not giving it enough love right now, and the reason being is because he's sitting there at the bottom of this bookshelf, so it doesn't get as much light there, so it is lacking a bit of that. But I think more importantly, this guy's root bound because he's been in this container for over 2 years now. So there is signs of new growth still, so it is quite resilient. And I do like the fishbone pattern of the leaves, but definitely needs a bit of work. So yeah. Okay, coming in at number 6. Man, I'm so embarrassed showing you guys the rest of these plants. Coming in at number 6, it is the Philodendron Brazil. So you guys can see here another plant that does not look healthy and thriving. And for some reason, heart-shaped philodendrons do not like me. I know a lot of people swear that they are very easy to care for, but for some reason I struggle with them. And you can see how leggy this guy is. He's dropped so many leaves, and reason being it's just lack of light. Very similar to the Tenante. Hidden somewhere in this bookshelf near the bottom. So with the Ficus elastica here, it's kind of blocking the view of the sky and the light. So definitely needs a bit more light, and I think needs to be repotted. I tried propagating it, but it's not rooting well. But I do like this philodendron if it was prettier and full, like when I first got it. You know, the leaves on this is very beautiful. It has the green outer sides to it, and then the middle is yellow, resemblance of the Brazil flag. But yeah, definitely needs a bit of a TLC as well. Man, I feel like I'm gonna expose myself with all these plants I've been neglecting. Maybe we should name this video plants that Christian is neglecting. Anyway, coming in at number 5, it is the Dieffenbachia, also known as dumb cane. So I do genuinely like this plant. Unfortunately, similar to the Philodendron Brazil and the Dante there. It's just not doing so well. There's a lot of yellowing and browning of the leaves going on, and the reason why this is happening, unlike those two, this is actually getting a lot of bright light because it is near my south-facing window on that desk over there. But the reason why it's getting a lot of this brown and yellowing is because I don't water this guy consistently, so I actually do a quite contrasting watering with this guy, only because I know he's quite resilient. He can definitely tolerate a bit of overwatering and a bit of underwatering, but what typically happens with this plant for me is I will sometimes just forget it, and I will not water it for like weeks, sometimes even a month, until I notice that all the leaves are starting to dry out and die and kind of fall off. Then I'll like drench it in water and like really soak it, and then like I'll place it back and I'll forget about it until I see those yellowing and browning happening again. So that's pretty much what this guy is going through right now. He's also root bound because I can tell with, you know, the trunk here is really thick. But as his new ones grow, you know, it does get a little bit thinner, I'm noticing. So, and plus I think the roots are starting to show at the bottom. He's been in the same container, for about, you know, over 2 years now. So he's gonna need a bit of love, a bit of repotting, and maybe separation as well, or maybe just a bigger container, because I have seen big Dieffenbachias and they look beautiful as a floor plant. So fairly easy to care for as well, I think. Obviously I'm not doing a very good job of it, but I would categorize this as a beginner's houseplant as well. So coming in at number 4, it is the Peperomia Watermelon, or whatever's left of it, if you guys can even tell that it's a Peperomia Watermelon. You know, out of all my Peperomias, this is probably my least favorite. Unfortunately, it's just not doing so well because, again, it is near at the bottom, actually at the bottom of my shelf here, so it's not getting a ton of light. When I first got this, it was so full and so beautiful with that foliage that resembles a watermelon. And yeah, it was one of my favorites back then, but unfortunately, just I'm not giving enough love to it. So I do think the container might be a little bit too big for it, and it's just not getting enough of light. There is signs of new growth that's happening, but it's just not thriving, right? So yeah, this is number 4. So coming in at number 3, it is the lipstick plant. So as you guys can see here, he's not that bad in shape like the Philodendron Brazil, but obviously he still needs a bit of love at TLC. Needs to be repotted because I've had this guy for over 2 years, and similar to the Dieffenbachia, I allow this guy to dry out completely until I start seeing those leaves, you know, dry out and start falling off. Then I'll water this guy quite a bit. Quite resilient because, you know, I've done that so many times and he's still here, still thriving, and sometimes will even shoot out new blooms. So I do think this is a relatively easy plant, you know, for beginners, but just definitely needs a bit more love from me. So now coming in at number 2 of my 10 least favorite houseplants, it is the Victorian Belle Croton. So it is a Croton. I know a lot of people out there don't like Crotons. I personally like them. You know, I like their colorful foliage that they give, especially during the summer months. Unfortunately, this particular Croton struggled during the winter months here in Canada. It dropped a lot of leaves because these guys love a lot of bright light, even a couple hours of direct sunlight. This looks really beautiful when this is nice and full, especially when they start shooting out these baby leaves at the tip of the main leaf. And it just looks so cool. So I think what I'm going to do this summer is definitely needs to be repotted because been in the same container for the past 2 years. And we're going to have this guy outside during the summer and try and get it full and colorful again. So that way by the time fall and winter comes, when it's time to bring him indoors, he's going to do just fine. At least has a lot more growth than what he has right now. But yeah, so coming in at number 1 of my 10 least favorite houseplants, it is the Ficus lyrata, also known as the Philly leaf fig. And I know what you guys are thinking, how can I have this in my 10 least favorite houseplants? Because I do like ficus plants. I love my Ficus elasticus, my Benjamina, my Altissima. Unfortunately, the Ficus lyrata is my least favorite ficus out of all of them. And this one in particular, when I first got this, it was this nice, beautiful, tree-shaped, full and lush look it had. Unfortunately, you guys can see here, it's a bit bare. It has dropped a lot more leaves than it has given me in the last couple of years I've had this guy. And although it's still alive, considering that a lot of people do struggle with this plant, you know, it's just not as beautiful as it was once and what it can be, because I have seen beautiful Ficus lyratas that's giant and tree-shaped and just so full. It just looks so cool, right? So my goal for this season is to try and get this guy to grow a lot more leaves again. So I'm gonna have to do a bit more research. I might need a bit of repotting this season as well as a bit more fertilizer. And I think I'm gonna put him outside during the summer months so that way he can get a lot of that nice bright light. So there you have it. Those are the 10 least favorite houseplants I own right now. Comment and let me know if you guys were a bit surprised that they were on my list or plants that should be on this list. Also, let me know if any of these plants are in your least favorite category or in your favorite category. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one when we do our top 10 favorite houseplants. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, stay safe, and see you then. Peace.